Do you know that Alaska's Kenai Peninsula is home to more than 30 species of mammals? I'm talking bears, moose, and sea otters, basically all the furry, majestic creatures you'd want to see from afar. We didn't see those, but we did see a lot of fish, a whole lot of fish. Recently, I went to Alaska with 10 incredible women and our guide Charlie, who wasn't a woman, but honestly, he hiked like one anyway. Hey there, I'm Rebecca, founder of Hike Like a Woman. Recently, we took our first ever group trip to Alaska. Yep, we did it from Anchorage to Girdwood and all the way down to Seward. Buckle up because this is the story of our wild adventure on the Kenai Peninsula. So fun fact, Alaska is over twice the size of Texas, twice. It's not the kind of place that you can just pop into to visit for the weekend. Well, I guess you could, but you'd really miss out. Alaska is hard to get to, it's expensive between the flights, hotels, food, and fuel. It's not your average trip, which is exactly why I planned a group trip there. I wanted an adventure. I wanted to go someplace remote. I wanted to see what makes Alaska so special. And there's no better way to see that than with a group of rad outdoor women. We started our Alaskan adventure in Anchorage with airport pickups and of course the highlight of the day, shopping. Not just any shopping though, we hit up Swoop, a woman-owned, woman-founded business in Anchorage. Virginia, the founder, welcomed us with open arms to her warehouse.
So I made a bra. I didn't really realize it was going to be a great work bra, but it ended up being this awesome work bra. First year of business, I was hand sewing all of them, gave them to some friends. Word of mouth got bigger. At the end of the first year, I was so stressed out. I hired my first employee. And so now we're in year 4. We've expanded beyond bras. So now we have bras, underwear, pants, shorts, tunics. We just launched our rain pants last week. And so we have a little bit of everything.
Let me tell you, her clothing is the perfect combination of cozy and cute and comfortable, exactly what you need for the Alaskan wilderness. And she's not paying me to say that. Shopping and hiking, it was my kind of adventure. After our retail therapy, we set up camp at Crow Creek. We grilled up some delicious salmon because, we were in Alaska, and settled in for the night. The only thing louder than the crackling campfire was probably our laughter, because that's how we roll here at Hike Like a Woman. We woke up bright and early, ready to take on the Alaskan wilderness. But first, we had to get from our campsite to Whittier, Alaska, and that involved driving through a massive tunnel. Yes, a literal tunnel. And what was cool about this tunnel is it's a one-way tunnel that is used by both trains and vehicles. Once we got to Whittier, we hiked up Portage Pass, and I'm just gonna cue the jaw-dropping views right here. It was an amazing hike. Next, we visited a special place where salmon migrate back to fresh water, back to where they were born. Here they spawn and, die. It was fascinating to learn about salmon and learn about their life cycle and recognize that the dead salmon on the banks of the water provide nutrients to other species. After our lesson on spawning and salmon, we hopped on a glacier cruise.
Sea otter, yep, he's out of here. He's so otter.
As you can tell, just dove down, clearly a little skittish, but pop back up again. We're still gonna go get closer, see if it will let us do it for a little bit here.
Oh, and a glacier calved, which is fancy talk for huge chunks of ice falling off into the water. It was like nature's own action movie. That was bananas. That was cool. We really liked this cruise because not only did we get to see the pristine Alaskan wilderness, but it also offered free coffee and tea, and they baked cookies on the boat, which was such a nice treat after such a gloomy and rainy afternoon. We ended the day checking out a unique Alaskan phenomenon, the boar tide. Picture a wave rolling in slow motion through a narrow inlet, and yes, it is as mesmerizing as it sounds. We were excited to get to watch people paddleboarding and surfing on the boar tide. It was so cool. We settled into our campsite for another night, and the next morning we woke up and we were ready to hike. Today's hike was the Crow Pass Trail. It starts all innocent in the forest with willows surrounding you like they're welcoming you into the wilderness. Then bam, you hit a valley, and suddenly you're surrounded by mountains that look like they've been painted on the sky. Along the way, we stumbled upon mining ruins from the early 1900s, and it was so easy to let our imaginations take us back over 100 years as we envisioned prospectors combing the land looking for a gold vein.
Love this tour.
After a beautiful scenic hike on Crow Pass Trail, it was time for a relaxing afternoon, so we headed up to the Alyeska ski resort. We took a tram ride to the top of the mountain. We enjoyed a cocktail and beautiful views, and then we did something we've never done before on a Hike Like a Woman trip. We spent 4 hours at a spa. Adventure and luxury, yes please. The next morning, it was time to leave Girdwood behind, but not before trying our hand at panning for gold. This might have been one of my favorite activities the whole trip, you guys. I didn't strike it rich, but I did walk away with some great memories, and I can't wait to pan for gold again. After panning for gold, we loaded up the van and we headed towards Seward. On the way there, we stopped at Kenai Lake, which is officially the prettiest lake I've ever seen. It was cold, so all I did was soak my tired feet. Called it Mother Nature's spa day, but the brave ones in our group went swimming and splashing in the lake, and they had so much fun. Once we arrived in Seward, we set up camp, we had a delicious dinner, and then we got ready for our hike the next day because it was going to be a big one. Exit Glacier and Harding Icefield. The next day took us on a 9-mile adventure. The views, absolutely worth every single step. If you visit Alaska, you absolutely have to check out this hike. Honestly, every place we saw in Alaska was gorgeous. We capped off the day with dinner and drinks at the Yukon bar, celebrating our victory on the trail.
Cheers to the exit glacier.
And if you're in Seward and you go to the Yukon bar, look for the Hike Like a Woman hat that's hanging on the wall. After a big hike, our last full day of the trip greeted us with clouds and wind. We had a 4-hour kayaking tour booked, but unfortunately we couldn't go kayaking because of the weather, but that didn't stop us. We do that thing that we do here at Hike Like a Woman, and we went on a nice hike. And then we decided to go dog sledding. Did you know that you can go dog sledding in the summer? It's a little different than winter dog sledding. They basically hook up dogs to a golf cart, but still, we got to go summer dog sledding with the CV Family Dog Sled Tours. really excited to learn at the end of our dog sled tour that there were new puppies. So then we got to spend some time cuddling and petting the cutest little future Iditarod champions. During this tour, we learned more about mushing than we ever thought possible.
Next up, we have our wrist straps. When your dogs are out there running on the race, their muscles can get sore, so can their joints, specifically their wrists and their ankles.
And we fell in love with those dogs in the process. Of course, we celebrated that night with a fancy dinner at the Flamingo Lounge, headed back to our campsite, and then the next morning, we said our goodbyes. We packed up all our gear, we headed to the airport, and we concluded our epic adventure to Alaska. It sounds a little cliche, maybe even a little bit corny, and if you watched our Kilimanjaro videos, you know that there's something really special about Hike Like a Woman trips. We always say that we start our trips as strangers and we end our trips as friends. And that's so true. That's so true about every trip we go on, whether it's climbing Kilimanjaro, adventuring in Costa Rica, or exploring Alaska. If you want to learn more about how you can join me for a Hike Like a Woman trip, go check out our website, hikelikeawoman.com. And if you're curious about the trips that we offer, go check out this playlist right here.